Well, good evening, gang, and welcome to It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams, and of course, to my right and to your left is Julia Perciasepe. Is in. How'd I do?
Terribly.
I know I'm doing horrible.
That's strike
Julia
three.
Perciasepe is here, of course, and we are coming to you live from our beautiful studios here at BNN-TV. And you're more than welcome to join us if you'd like. We're at 617-708-3290. David is right across the bottom. And Davey and the great staff of BNN are in the other room answering the phone. So if you feel like joining us, please let us know what's going on. How are you? How did Friday go? Was it Friday?
Great. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm asking about a screening that Julia and her great company of people that you work with had this past weekend. It was a documentary on the South End. Talk to me. How did it go?
It's called Neighbors. It was great. There was great discussion afterwards.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah. A lot of the people who were involved with the film went, and some of the families that were in the film.
Oh, that's nice.
And then we're going to do another one in the South End on January 7th. I hope I'm getting that date right. But so this was at Harvard's Carpenter Center. So this will be actually in the South End, and we're hoping
draw more people.
Yeah, we're hoping to get a lot of the South End residents to come out and kind of.
Now, was it like a documentary about the South End or family life, or was there a specific event that it was kind of talking about?
Not a specific event, but kind of the changing community in the 70s, and kind of. The changing demographics and, you know, what was happening with the architecture and, just
well, it's a beautiful part of our city. I mean, I love going, I used to go to the Fez, which is a watering hole down there by Dover.
Does that still exist?
It actually is still there.
Really?
Not in the stages that I was when I was there. It's changed quite a bit.
Okay.
But like I've told you before, my bride went to school in the South End at Cathedral, and I know that there were many, many changes around that whole area at Harrison Avenue. Now, of course, we talk about SOA being like a premier event area where the artists and many, many different people get together. Who were the people that were doing highlighted on the film, or who were the people that were doing the film for? Who were they about?
Yeah, so it was about a couple of families who were kind of moving into the neighborhood as it was changing. And
was it before busing or after busing?
After.
Yeah, after busing. Okay.
And I'm trying to remember his name. He's still very, very active in the community.
Okay.
And the name is escaping me.
That's all right.
But yeah, but it follows a couple of families and kind of their interest in kind of revitalizing certain rundown houses, and then more people were coming in and changing the demographic, and then kind of the change in the costs of living.
Yeah.
Kind of similar things to, you know, gentrification and what's happening still in Boston. So
because in the day, the elevated train went through. The Orange Line was above ground, and it actually kind of came roaring down Washington Street, right through that whole area down there, and it had a lot to do with it, bringing down that elevated MBTA station, which, by the way, the building we're in was the power station for that actual Orange Line. Made big changes in that area.
Yeah.
I mean, there were lots of things that happened because of that. So that's great. So on January 7th, do you know where in the South End it's going to be shown?
it's at the Boston Public Library, the one in the South End. Yeah. So.
And what website can we go to the Boston Public Library's website or your website?
Probably. You can go to ours, www.der.org, and we'll have all the information up. I don't know if it's up yet, but it will be very soon.
I think will they have an opportunity to meet some filmmakers and people at that time too?
Sure.
I think that's the exciting part of this whole thing. I mean, of course, the film itself is the cool part, but I think that getting to talk to the people is another cool thing. So you're out of here pretty soon.
I am.
Yeah,
I'm really
you're
excited.
Off to Brazil.
Yes.
Very excited about that. How long are you going to stay?
Through the 2nd.
Through the 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll be down there for New Year's as well.
We will.
What's New Year's in Brazil like?
I haven't experienced it yet, but I hear it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone wears white. Why, I don't know.
You're going to figure it out
I
when you
will
get out
figure
there.
it out.
When you're that close to the sun, white probably works.
I guess so, yeah. It'll be an experience.
Oh, that's great. Well,
Yeah.
I hope. Are you going to be in the mountainous area, on the coast?
I'll be in Sao Paulo, which is kind of coastal, and then we're going up north, also somewhere coastal, kind of on the north coast.
Well, enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
And you and your fiancé should have a great time. He's kind of going home, isn't he, to visit, and you're being dragged along.
Yay.
That's great. That's exciting. This is our last show of the year.
It is.
So there's a couple of things that we really, really should be doing. One of them right off the top of the bat is going to be to thank our amazing partner in this endeavor that we've been doing. Lo, these 16 years, Boston Main Streets has been a great friend of ours in helping us with information, helping keep us on the air here. Main Streets is an organization that, a volunteer-driven organization that helps revitalize the business districts around the city of Boston and now around the world. They started right here in Boston in an urban setting when then City Councilor Tom Menino brought it out to Rosendale to see if he could, you know, in the 80s it was a very desolate and crime-ridden and dangerous place to open a family business, but now it is, because of those great programs, is not just a great place to live and shop, but it is a destination for people outside of the community to come in. So we want to thank them for all of their support that they've given us over these years. It's great to have those kind of partners. They had a lot to do with your South End, too. Main Streets came along in the mid-'80s and kind of really helped business owners. And they'd have a specific designated area, and they would concentrate solely on that. And I know that the South End expanded and got bigger with other smaller ones, as did Jamaica Plain and as did Dorchester. You know, it wasn't just Rosendale, but we did it all over the city, and the city really shows for that because of their support. Do you ever see any Main Street events? Are you familiar with Main Streets at all?
Only through you. Yeah.
It's a really cool outfit.
Yeah.
I mean, they do some amazing things. I mean, you know, let's say you're going to open up you and your fiancé, you're going to open up a mom and pop store. Not forcing anything, of course.
Okay.
Slow down. You're going to open up a shop, or, you know, and you guys are going to invest all of to do it. They help you with the demographic information for the area, who's living there. More importantly, actually, the really kind of cool information they give you is what are people leaving this business district to buy? What can they not get here that they do want to be able to get in their neighborhood? Yeah. And that's kind of a cool thing for the property owner to know, you know, because let's say it's a candle shop, let's say it's a specific clothing or food or something. We need that kind of thing in this community, and you know that it'll flourish because we've asked the people who live and shop here what they want. Yeah.
Do you know what's going in on the corner of Columbus and Center Street?
No, I don't.
You know that big new luxury apartment complex that they've built right by the Jackson Square
I know what you're
T-stop?
talking about, yes. That's
I'm dying to know.
Well, they have done that whole area over.
Yeah, it's...
You know, and the business district right directly across from Bromley Heath and right across from the Jackson Station, that all got knocked down and redone, and it's beautiful now. What's going on the corner of South and Center and Columbus.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is on the right going up there. It looks they've put a lot of time into that. That is something that I can look into and find out. That's something I can do. What's coming up in the movie biz? Anything?
We're just kind of taking a break right now, going away on vacation.
That's good.
So when we come back, it'll be a new semester, a new year.
That's interesting. You guys really kind of flourish along with the semesters that the colleges do.
Yeah, it's pretty aligned to the academic calendar year.
Right. And in higher education, it doesn't stop. There's no summers off.
Well, no, it doesn't stop.
It just keeps on going.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Are you ever going to put a shoulder mount on and go out and shoot the great epic?
Maybe.
You should.
Yeah, I've thought about it.
Do you have a background in film education?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I would love to learn.
You should. They do that here,
I
you
know.
If you did want to learn, do you know where you would go? That's good. That's pretty good. It is the place to go to get that kind of information is right here at BNN-TV. BNN-TV is your television station. It's cable access. This side over here is for nonprofits so they can get together and do some. You bring your nonprofit in here, they train you on how to host a television show, and then you bring your guests in and get your mission statement out. You get a chance to talk a little bit about your nonprofit and some of the things that you're planning to do. On the other side is access, and that's channel 23. Right now you're watching channel 9 or 15 on RCN. What they do is you become a member and you take all these classes in Final Cut Pro, lighting, how to use these cameras, how to do sound, how to edit in Final Cut Pro. And then they give you an opportunity to sign out these amazing cameras and all this amazing equipment. You go out and you shoot anything. The local cheerleading competition, the church, you know, all different kinds of things, or your epic film that you're going to be doing. And then you bring it back here, and in the Timothy Smith lab downstairs, you do all of your editing. And guess what? They put it on TV for you. So if that's something you're interested in doing, you go to www.bnntv.org, click on Janice Williams. Janice Williams' name. She is the person who is in charge of getting your membership all squared away and making sure you know what you want and get you started up here at this great facility that we are all so very, very proud of. We also stream live. So I know right now in Portland, Oregon, there are friends that are watching. There are people up in upper state New York that are watching. I'm actually checking them out right now. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, folks. We've got a great show, by the way, poetry. Don't go away. We got lots of really cool. And a brand new segment, too, coming up very, very, very soon that we will be debuting on the last show of the year, which we're very, very excited about. So listen, gang. That's about it for right now. Listen, hang in there, gang. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. Thanks for hanging in there. Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. One of the things that we do is if you want to see this program at any time of the day or night, and you missed part of it today, or you just want to go over that new segment that's coming up very, very soon with a fine-tooth comb, the way to do that is go to YouTube, and the address at YouTube is It's All About Arts 1, the number 1. That's how you'll get to be able to see this program at any time. And it will be up and running by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So it's real important to us to make sure you get a chance to see these programs. Listen, gang, do not go away. We've got a new segment coming up in just a couple of minutes. We'll be back in, where are you? There you are. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Thanks for hanging in there with us, gang. You're watching It's All About Arts. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Thanks.
I crash and burn. The rain comes down, the pavement's wet. I'm not alone. When you're with me, it's all okay. I crash and burn. The rain comes down. It's all okay. I reach the speed of sound again. I barely feel the highway under my wheels when I am driving in my car. Driving in my car.
Well, welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there with us. You are watching, my name's Glenn Williams. You're watching BNN-TV's It's All About Arts. One more reminder that we are coming to you live, and if you want to join us, please give us a call at 617-708-3290. That's the number. And if there's a block on your phone, star 82 gets you straight through to Davey and the gang in the other room answering phones. And one more last reminder about if you want to see this program again, it will be on YouTube tomorrow at It's All About Arts 1. Is the address at YouTube. Now, one of the things that we've always kind of been excited about doing here is a segment that kind of gives you a little insight of some of the things that are going on around our community and around New England and some of the things in Boston. And Julia is going to be spearheading that. And right now, it is the first time, and we're very, very proud and happy to have Julia's World. And here you have it.
Hello, everybody. It's Julia's World. I'm just going to go over a couple of things that are going on in Boston this week and this weekend, some really cool things that are happening. The first thing, check out the Micro Museum in Union Square, Somerville. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, free, open to the public access museum, micro museum. And on view right now is Dina Brodsky's oil paintings. They're very small, about this big. So check it out. It's founded by Judith Klausner. We're hoping to get her on the show sometime soon. Very cool idea. Second, MIT Museum. If you haven't been, check it out. Currently, there's an exhibition of black and white photographs by Stanley Greenberg called Time Machine. And there are these photographs of these crazy big machines that are, you know, atom smashers and accelerators, and they exist underwater and in Antarctica, and it's just a really, really cool exhibit. So you should go and check that out. And that'll be going through March 17th, so you have some time for that one. This week, Lauryn Hill will be at the Royale, which is kind of a nightclub, but also a live music venue, which is very cool. And yeah, Lauryn Hill, who knew? In Boston, 7 o'clock, Wednesday the 18th. Gonna be a great show, very excited about it. And also, you should check out the Boston Film Festival for Iranian film. That's going to be at the MFA. It's going to be really cool. It's next month, January 17th, I believe it starts. Going to be some great films, so definitely check it out. MFA has really wonderful programming, so they always have something cool in film going on. And also, the Cultural Survival Holiday Bazaar is happening. If you haven't gotten your holiday gifts, You should check it out this weekend at the Prudential Center. They're sure to have some amazing items, unique from around all over the world. Cultural Survival is a nonprofit organization that promotes Indigenous rights through publications and advocacy campaigns. They're a really, really wonderful organization, so go out and support them and also get some holiday gifts out of it. So that's all I have for this week. Next week I'll be bringing some more fun tips, artful things happening in Boston. So this is Julia's World. That's it.
That was awesome. That's great. Welcome back, gang. Thank you very much, Julia. And Julia's World is going to be something we're going to be doing every week, where Julia's going to get an opportunity to kind of bring in some things and do some cool stuff. So, so that's going to be an awful lot of fun. Thanks an awful lot for that, Julia. And right now, it's my great pleasure and honor to introduce you to Gregory LeStage. Hello, Gregory. How are you?
Glenn.
Welcome to BNN's It's All About Arts.
Delighted to be here.
No, thank you very much for coming in. You are a poet. This is a loaded question. How long have you been a poet? All your life, right?
Yeah. I think probably for about 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an evolution.
Is it a growth?
Right,
Is it something that happens?
From thinking about oneself as a poet in a private way
I felt like
to
I was talking way too fast.
developing into a more public one, which I think has been the span over about 30 years.
Okay. Well, there's always that journaling thing that you start off, you know, doodling and throwing thoughts down into a private diary or journal and stuff like that. But you said when you that to bring it public, that whole phrase, bringing it public. We have a lot of students that watch this program. Let's talk a couple of minutes about that scary thing. Poetry, like music, and some, you know, and art, visual arts as well. But I think poetry, being the spoken word, is very personal and can be very private. That whole process of opening up to the public, to let them kind of inside, Greg. What was that like for you?
I think it's the biggest move.
Yeah.
From thinking about it to putting it on paper to sharing it, and depending on what your audience is, you know, who are you sharing it with?
Right.
And the scary part can be your peers, your friends, or that can provide you with great comfort, you know, and really encourage you to do it.
Depends what you're writing about.
Depends what you're writing about.
Yeah.
Or it can be critics, people who write about poetry, or people who are poets themselves, and you're worried about being criticized, having someone say that's not good, or I don't get it.
Right. That's almost for somebody who someone in the creative field. I don't get it, or that's not good. You're not good.
Oh,
you
very
don't
personal.
Get it. Oh, it's
your
tough.
thoughts, your feelings, and the way I express them aren't good.
Right. Yeah.
So it makes you very vulnerable. I think as every art does, but when you're, you know, poetry, they say, is the art of thought and the art of emotion, right? And you can really choose. The great poets kind of break down in those two areas. And, you know, which one am I? And when I express my thoughts or my feelings, how does that sound to others?
Right.
Does that sound like me? Does it feel like me? And what do they say when they react?
Are there mentors like that? Are there people you kind of is emulate the right? I guess it is emulate. I don't want to say copy.
No,
I don't want to say stylize.
Right.
I mean, are there people that influence you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There are people that I read, you know, never knew, and also read about. You know, what did the other great thinkers feel about these writers? And then there's the people who just encourage you to write, even though they may not know much about poetry itself. It's just saying, you know, it's okay. I like your ideas. Go ahead and do it. And I, probably because I'm from where I am, I grew up on Robert Frost.
Yeah.
And as a New England poet, the settings and the feelings I very much identified with.
Right, right.
So I think if there's one poet through the years for me, he remained a constant.
Are you a member of, if you had, you're putting out that electronic press kit, and they've got those drop-down menus. I ask everybody this question. So you have to pull that drop-down menu, and you had to categorize yourself as a poet. What kind of poetry? What do you think you would be pulling? What do you think you'd be choosing? It's a horrible question, and I apologize every time I ask it, but it gets us thinking.
Yeah, it's a good one. Do I have to choose one word?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't know. Just give us an idea of where you put yourself as a poet.
I think that I am a New England poet because of the topography of what I write. I write about the natural world in the setting. I'm a Massachusetts poet, more specifically for the same reasons. I'm also, I think, very much of a male poet.
Okay.
I think. Not that I exclude, thoughts and feelings that are not gender specific, but I think you could read it and say, okay, it falls into that category. I think I explore the challenges that men have of a certain age, in relationships growing up.
Okay.
In particular around how you express yourself or don't, as the case may be.
Yeah.
And growing up in a New England tradition where expression and laws and rules and regulations and etiquette, are an issue in our history. And I grew up in that myself, and I think it shows up in what I write. Do you find
as men go, that we do hold a lot inside, and we don't have that whole expressing our feelings thing is very unmanly to some people.
Yeah.
I mean, I write love songs. I get as mushy as the next guy. No, I don't get as mushy as the next guy. But do you sometimes find yourself wanting to kind of reach out through your poetry to someone and say, look, you can do this. This is something that's going to make you feel something, which makes you feel alive?
Oh, yes. I think it's a way. People say, well, I want to connect with my audience. And I say, I think, well, are you connecting with yourself? Is what you're putting on the page actually what you're thinking and feeling? Are you getting as close as you can get?
Right.
And you should certainly try to do that. It's hard to find something that's not good about that. It gets back to your question, all right, well, what makes you afraid when you're going to start to go public? And that's it, is I put something out there on the page that might express something about who I am that people don't know about, or they wouldn't know about unless they read what I wrote.
Right.
And what are they going to say? What does that say about me? It's a risk.
This is, if we can get a grab of this right here, this is Gregory's, is it Gregory or Greg?
Greg.
Greg, okay. I just don't want to.
That's all right.
This is your latest book?
It's my first book.
Your first, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. Here is your book, and it is full of, there's not a lot of Dr. Seuss in here, is there?
No, there isn't.
Who's one of my favorite
I
poets,
love
by
him.
the way.
I started with him.
You know what, let's take a couple of seconds and talk a little bit about the publishing deal. Not the deal, I don't mean the deal you made, I mean the process of going through. Do you have a bunch of envelopes at home that just, one of the things, my wife's a writer too, and one of the things that she brought into the show one night was this huge box of letters. She wouldn't throw one of them away, of rejections.
Yeah.
Thank you, but not right now. Maybe next. We'll file this, and those kind of things. And a framed one of, we did it, you know? What was the experience like for you?
I think it was, in some important ways, quite similar to what many experienced, but in some others, very different. I wrote for a concentrated period of time when I was younger, when I was in college and in graduate school, and was very involved with poetry, did a lot of writing. And then went through a period where, after I left my academic life and moved into my working life and my family life, I did it less. But what I was doing was compiling a body of work and making a conscious decision not to be sending out those letters. For two reasons. One, I knew it would take a great deal of energy to do it and a lot of focus that I didn't have at the time. And two, I wasn't sure whether the process, the inevitable process of rejection, that would keep me from writing, which had given me a lot of pleasure leading up to that.
Yeah, you don't want to make it unhealthy for yourself.
And I was worried that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but I reached a point really 18 months ago, 2 years ago, where I said, you know, I have a body of work now, and I think that I should consider this as a book as opposed to sending out individual poems into magazines, which would take so much time and energy. So the approach was, would a publisher accept this manuscript? And it was really like swinging for the fences or going for the brass ring.
Yep.
And I got, I think, very fortunate to have been selected for publication by a small press. It was a very good match for me in my style of writing. It's a Connecticut press, a small press that's been around since
Small press is the name?
No, it's called Antrim House, and it's in Connecticut. It's been around since the early 90s and has a specific point of view about poetry, and I want to say a taste or an aesthetic that reflects the views of its publisher and editor.
Are the people there poets?
Yes. Oh, yes. Deep in poetry as a critic and a writer and an editor and a publisher and a...
That must feel very rewarding then to be not only be accepted by a publishing house of somebody that's going to kind of bound it and put it together and correct the spelling and all that stuff, but also by your peers.
Oh, it was the biggest surprise. It was sort of the Groucho Marx thing. When I was told it was accepted, I said, you know, you don't really want me.
Are
really?
you sure?
Do I want to be part of a publishing house that would want me? And it was an interesting a series of communications, an email, but also mostly over the phone with the publisher. And I was asking him, saying, well, really? You know, what is it about that, and what about that? And finally, he just said, you know, these are the reasons why I think that this will work, and you've got to trust me.
Yeah.
And it was very rewarding and very humbling.
That's great.
And it was a process then of working with him through the manuscript, which taught me so much about myself in a very short period of time that I hadn't known in the previous decades of writing, just by working with a very sensitive editor. Very lucky.
You talked about a body of work that you'd kind of accumulated. Do you have a tape recorder with you all the time, or are you so disciplined so that you can go and so you have to be careful when you're interviewing writers. You have to be very careful about how you say things. Are you able to say this Thursday? I've got this afternoon off. I'm going to go and work on 3 or 4 of those pieces that I've been noodling, and sit down and actually put some lead on paper.
That's a great question, and absolutely the right kind of question. I have my other life is I have a very full life in business, and I have a wife and 3 children, and my hours are extremely limited. So what I needed to do, with my wife's support, is to literally get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and put the pencil to the paper reliably over 45 minutes or an hour and a half before everyone else showed up, in order to actually end up producing something that I felt good about. If I didn't do that, it wouldn't be between these covers.
It wouldn't
now.
have happened.
It wouldn't have happened. So yes, I plan for it, and then I try to deliver something. And sometimes I end up scrapping it. Sometimes I just choose one word or change one word, and that's it. And that's fine. Sometimes I'll end up writing.
Do you circular file stuff, or do you just kind of put it away in case you might want to
put it away?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I hope so. Yeah. Small Gods of Summer. Small Gods of Summer. I didn't mean to choke on that, but would you read a couple of pieces for us? That would really be, I'd appreciate that.
Maybe a bit of context first. The book really is an exploration of memory and how our use of memory affects us and the way we live and how we affect it. It's the lens through which we see ourselves.
Okay.
And so this is looking at memory and how it forms through childhood, through adulthood, through the angle of love and death and loss. The theme of nostalgia or regret runs through here as well, but memory is really the theme.
Right.
And so I'll start with, I think maybe naturally, with the childhood perspective. And this one is trying to be as pure as it can be, and that is the experience of that child in that moment. It's not a memory yet, but it will be. And it's an experience I think a lot of children have around swimming. And it's called At the Lake. And this I wrote for my cousin Matt, with whom I grew up, and we were little boys at a lakeside frequently in southeastern Massachusetts. At the lake, we are small and skinny and pink. We ignore our mothers all afternoon and secretly wait for our fathers to arrive. Swimming is a struggle not to touch bottom, not to brush against the hairy underside of the dock, not to drift over the shadow of the dock, not to appear frightened. We fish for perch with bacon and a bamboo pole with a clackety reel. It is a skill to avoid the hook, bravery to touch the fish, which we only do because our sisters, girls, won't even touch the graying meat. The shallow pond in the back simmers and smells worse than ever, we swear, but leaves the tadpoles languid for the taking. We catch them with scoops and put them in yellow buckets with silt and greasy green weed. We have plans for them. The diving board wobbles over a darkness that we don't even dare each other into. The diving tower, with a metal ladder 60 feet to the top, then the pennant, is simply inconceivable all day, like a monument on a green. Until Uncle Jarvie arrives, a dignitary endorsing a small event. He waves before he climbs in his penny loafers with the curled toes and his trunks taut over his belly like the bathing cap over his head. At the top, the earplugs insert and the loafers arch in heel-over-toe tosses to the lawn. Bits of tissue test the wind and drop without it. Our eyes follow the upward swoop of arms and the swanning arc as we forget the need to pee, and he describes what will later be geometry, intersecting the water. We compete to count the ripples with our fingers until he surfaces with his mustache, then emerges, slickened, and strides away to his scotch, waving, as our lips blue and our fingers prune, and the gravel driveway crunches with arriving fathers in ties and shine shoes.
I can see it. The shadows of the dock. I thought I was the only one that tried to avoid those. That brought me right back. That's very good. Right, I got that. I think we got time for one more, if that's possible. I'm sorry we got talking, and
Happy to.
if we can just, if you could please just give us one more, Greg, I'd really appreciate it.
Sure.
Are you performing anywhere? Do you have a signing or coming?
I've done a number of them. The career that I currently am under keeps me from a lot of this.
You have to compensate our income somehow,
yeah,
I know.
Yeah, and some things are in the works now for the coming months. There's something actually booked in March at the Dyer Literary Series at the Out of the Blue Gallery, which is terrific. I'm very pleased to be part of that. I have a Facebook page called Small Gods of Summer.
Okay, after the book?
Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll link that information up to the website so that people can go right to it. Right now it says Canvas Finance, but we'll change that to put your site up there.
And that'll be there.
That'll
and all
be
that
where the people
information's
get
there.
them. Okay, great.
All right.
Yep.
So I'm going to read a poem called Bees Waxing the Crib. And this again plays with someone preparing for a memory to form and preparing himself emotionally for what that will be. Beeswaxing the crib. I will beeswax the spindle crib in sections and have a tiny new box spring made and a tiny new mattress. I will use a soft cloth and spread the wax evenly. I will think of my grandmother, age 17 in 1922, unclouded by having no child, no beau, staring in the window of a Martha's Vineyard antique shop, looking at this crib, thinking of my mother, thinking of me, thinking of you. When I'm done, I will put the perfect fitted sheet on, and, bending over, will think of you there, curled like a comma or a question mark. I will look at you and make reconsiderations. I will leave one small section unwaxed so that I can do this again even after you are born, this looking forward.
Beautiful. Greg, thank you so much
Thank
for being here. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful work. And thank you for the insights. I mean, I think that's really important. You know, that's the whole mission of this program, is to get people meeting and know a little bit more about the people that we're enjoying. Thank you for being here. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Listen, gang, don't go away. We've got more show to come. Please don't go. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You are watching BNN-TV's It's All About Art, coming to you live from Studio B. We'll be back in one more minute. We've got another great poet coming up and artist. Please do not go away. We'll be right back. Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, thanks an awful lot for hanging in there, gang. And like I was telling them here, I was going to Guitar Center the other day, and that song came on the radio. It's a good thing there was no one else on the Jamaica way. It could have been disastrous. But, but right now, Julia and I are so proud and happy to invite back to the set Cariappa
Anniah.
Anniah, I'm sorry. How are you?
I'm fine.
How's
Glenn. How are
everything
you?
going?
Good.
Since we saw you last?
Quite a few things have happened. in my life.
Yes, well, first of all, let's hold this up. I want people to see this. This is very, very exciting.
That's volume 2.
Volume 2. How's this going?
Great.
Good.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's going awesome, huh?
I'm working on my third book.
You're working on your third. Talk to me a little bit about the poetry and what's inside here. What are we looking at?
Yeah. So I've been working with this for 40 years. And two poets have deeply informed my work and influenced my work. One is Piet Hein. He's a Danish polymath who's well known for his very short poems, aphorisms, more than 5,000, and they're called Grooks, G-R-O-O-K-S.
Okay.
Or G-R-U-K-S in the Danish. And he was writing this soon after the Nazi occupation. And he went on to write more than 5,000, and Denmark isn't a very large place, so the joke is that almost everyone has one.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah,
That's good.
And he's a polymath. And you may have heard this poem. I'd like to read this out to you.
Please.
It's called TTT. Put up in a place where it's easy to see the cryptic admonishment TTT. When you feel how depressingly slowly you climb, it's well to remember that things take time.
I like that.
He has written, so he's a very prolific chap, and he's done a lot of things. That's why I call him a polymath, because a mathematician, inventor, a whole lot of stuff. The other person is the American humorist Ogden Nash.
Oh, okay.
And, again, to quote him, he says, to keep your marriage brimming with love in the loving cup, when you're wrong, admit it. When you're right, shut up.
That's great advice. You got that, Julie?
I got it.
I
I'm
hope
taking
you're
notes.
listening.
So over the years,
Yes.
I think along those lines with those short poems and short poetry, very pithy and to the point. And over the years, I've realized, and I've brought this up before, what I may, it may sound like a very huge general statement that I'm making, but I believe that majority of the problems in the personal and professional life are because of lack of mentorship and lack of apprenticeship.
Okay.
And so most of my poetry is aimed towards that. And that's why my first two volumes were called Truisms Mostly, Reflections on Life, Living, and Relationships. And that's what I move towards. I sort of...
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Gregory. Are these from personal life experiences?
Yes, they very much are. And also, I've kept my eyes and ears and everything open to the world around me. And
So you're commenting on our Americana.
Not just Americana.
Okay, okay, good.
Humanity in general.
Humanity in general. Well, it needs, I'm glad someone's keeping an eye on us. That's very, very important. You're also an artist. You
Yes.
also paint. And
It's photography.
I'm sorry, photography, yes. And do the two ever kind of mesh at all?
I'm asked this question very often, but no, I don't think so.
No.
I think they're two separate streams.
You're able to separate the two?
Yes, completely.
You don't find yourself writing something about that masterpiece?
No. I haven't reached that narcissistic stage yet.
Try it, it's great.
Do you find it hard to fit everything that you want to express in a short poem?
No, actually, I find it very invigorating because it's a distillate of what I've been thinking.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge to bring it down to
It
the few
is.
lines. Now, there are numerous forms of these small things like the haiku
Yep.
and the senryu and tercet and stuff like that. But none of my poetry doesn't fall into any of those categories, and I don't like to be categorized. Even my artwork, I'm an eclectic artist.
Yeah.
So,
That's a great question because you do limit yourself to those number of
yeah. And I
phrases.
can't deal with it. To me, it's cuts off the creative process.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion.
If you go on and on and on?
It's like a tweet.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's like a tweet. You have to be specific. Yes. Do you have a formula? Do you actually say that this is it, or do you?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Okay.
It just comes, and I sometimes think of Bob Dylan because when he now in his old age, when he's still writing, he says it's very difficult. But earlier it just came out.
Yeah.
And that's the way this came out. The first book came out in 2010. The other one came out in 2011. It just poured out of me.
That's good.
And I'm working on the third book now.
And how's that third one coming?
It's slower.
You haven't said everything you have to say. You just.
It's slower. I think it's more. It's a little different. It's a little longer.
Yeah. Now, are you able to sit down at the desk and like we said earlier, put pencil to paper and get that kind of done because this is the timeline you have?
Yeah. I also have a very busy life too, and so I try to. It just comes in anytime, and I just put it down somewhere.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
And because they're short,
or something?
Yeah, notebook on the computer.
You know what I want to do is I definitely want to see some of your artwork too. So
Sure.
why don't we bring up some of your pictures, paintings right now? They'll come up on the monitor here. And you can tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
Yes. So I'm an eclectic artist, and I work with my medium is photography. Earlier it was film, and now it's digital photography. And they're all editions of one.
Do you carry a camera around with you?
I carry a very small camera with me, but
just in case?
Just in case, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm asked this question very often, what kind of camera do you use? It's not the camera, it's your eye. It doesn't matter.
like that.
There are beautiful pictures being taken by just simple cameras. All you need to see is you need to have the eye. So don't worry about technology, and that gets in the way. You need, obviously, if you're a professional, you need top flight equipment, but you don't have to get bogged down with it. And that's my view.
I think they're scrambling in there trying to get the photos.
And so I work in series.
Yep.
And
what's your latest? What are you working on now?
So just now I'm working on a series called Cosmic Dreams. And one of my pieces is at the Red Biennial at the Cambridge Art Association.
Oh, very good.
Which is running till January 24th. I got a first prize there, actually a co-first prize on that.
Congratulations.
You'll see a piece of it. It's called Levitating Jello.
Oh, I like that.
And I work with very common stuff, and I work with natural light, and I don't do any fancy pixel pushing, you know. So, and I just take one frame and one picture. I don't bracket. I don't take too many pictures. Then put them together.
Do you do any manipulation?
No, that's what I just said. I said I don't move pixels around. I obviously work with
I mean,
with
photo,
contrast.
so you don't get into photo. Well, you do.
I have to because it's it's digital photography.
Yeah, right.
But it's not a moral stand that I'm taking. I just believe that I like it like this.
Right. Seem to be having some technical difficulty.
Yeah.
How about if you read a quick piece for us, okay, and then we'll.
So, I'll read something which is not yet published. This is from my third volume.
Oh.
Memory, trick or treat. Analgesia of amnesia yields nostalgia.
Wow, that's very, very good.
Yeah. I need to kind of wrap my head around that for a second.
What's the website people can go to get?
It's www.cariappa.net.
Okay, we're going to link that up to our website so that people can get to it through that way. Thank you very much for being here. No, I really do appreciate it. Good luck on the third book. Where can people can go to your website to get the book, right? Thank you so much for being here with us. We really do appreciate it. Listen, gang, thanks an awful lot for being here. Where am I over here? Thank you for coming in tonight and being with us. Thank you very, very much. Like we like to say every week, please do get out and do something artful for yourself. Be safe out there with the snow and all the mess coming. Like we like to say, please keep in the forefront of your minds our mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews on foreign soil. Please get out, do something artful, do it for them. How you like the new set? Not bad? You like it? Okay, gang, listen, we'll be back next week. No, we won't. Happy New Year. Everyone say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.